The tools needed to change the rear differential oil or fluid is simple. What we need is a flat screwdriver. We need one 13mm wrench, 13mm. We need a 3/8 drive ratchet with an extension. This extension, this short extension, the very tip of this goes inside the filler plug, and you just back up, left, loosey, lefty, loosey, righty tighty. So you do not use a socket. The end of the 3/8 drive extension will fit inside the drain plug. So 3/8 ratchet with a small extension, short extension, 13mm wrench, 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch ratchet with a 13mm socket to get the bolts out. You can go back with a Fel-Pro gasket for your rear differential, or you can use RTV, which is a silicone, you know, and it dries, it gets a little rubbery. So you take the silicone. If you're not going to go back with the gasket, take the silicone, put it on your rear differential housing, all the way around the outer edge of the rear differential housing, like I was talking about earlier. Go all the way around the edge of the rear differential housing, around the outside of the boats. Go all the way around it, 360 degrees. You need a drain pan. That's all the tools you need. And don't forget your flat screwdriver if you need it to pry the rear differential cover loose. Now you know the rest of the story. Let's get into showing you how to do the gasket and the rear differential cover and the rear differential. I will crawl underneath the vehicle here in a minute. Today I want to show people how to change out the rear differential seal, change out the rear differential oil. This is on Ford Explorers, Mercury Mountaineers, Ford trucks that have rear wheel drive. They can be, you know, just 2-wheel drive, which has the rear wheels pull. They can be 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And let me show you the cover. This is for 2000 Ford Explorer, 2000 Mercury Mountaineer, and I think this covers pretty much the year models from like 95 to 2005, and maybe even later models, but especially like from 95 to about 2005. You're looking at the rear differential cover. This is what it looks like. It's a 10 bolt pattern. The bolts are 13mm. All you need is a 13mm socket with a 3/8 or a 1/2 inch ratchet, and to take this is the front side of the cover, you know, the way it mounts to the rear differential. And you just take that bolts out. But to drain the fluid, take all the loosen up all the bolts, leave like 2 in the top, and pull the cover forward. You can do it with your fingers or a flat screwdriver, and the oil will drain out behind the pan into the drain. Make sure you got a drain bucket or a drain pan to drain it in. It holds, I think it's 3.1 quarts. So that's the rear differential cover. Easy peasy, 10 bolts, 13mm. Okay, here's your bolts on the ground. And before you mount this back to the rear differential, you want to take a flat plastic scraper and scrape it along the edge of the rear differential cover and remove any RTV, you know, silicone, or if you got a cork gasket, make sure you remove it, make sure it's clean. Take some brake cleaner, spray your pan out. I use brake cleaner, and 10 bolts. This is your filler plug, and if you see it's magnetic, it's holding this bolt. If there's any metal in the transmission, it will stick to this. Make sure to clean this and clean your threads with brake cleaner. Clean your bolts with brake cleaner, and you'll see there's 2 tags. One's for part numbers. This is on one side, this is on the right side of the differential cover. This is attached to one of the bolts. That's part numbers in case you need the parts. And on the left differential cover, you will have another tag, and this tells you what oil that goes back into your car. This one says 75, yes, you can see it, 75W140 synthetic oil. So you can get it at Walmart, the Walmart brand, for about $15 a gallon. If you buy like a name brand like Motorcraft, it's $23 to $35 a quart. So I'm going back with a Walmart brand synthetic gear oil, 75W140 synthetic. It takes about 3.1 quarts. And make sure your rear differential cover, after you take this off and you let all the oil drain out of it, you can of course remove the top bolt that's holding the pan and pull the cover off. Like I said, clean this real good with a plastic scraper along the edge. Wipe it, clean it with brake fluid, make sure it's dry. And on the, let me go back and I'll show you, well, the rear differential housing. And if you're going to use the RTV gasket maker, RTV silicone, or whether if you're going to use the cork gasket like I got, I probably won't use the cork gasket. I'll probably just go back to RTV silicone. Use the red or the orange. Do not forget the fluid. Most vehicles hose 3.1, so get at least 4 quarts probably to be on the safe side. Fill it up to the drain, to the filler plug, and when it starts coming out, put the filler plug in it. Of course, you put your gasket, you put your differential cover back on first. Then you fill it up with the differential fluid or gear oil, 75W140 synthetic. Get 4 quarts, fill it up till it comes out of drain, till it comes out of filler plug. Stop filling it up, because once it starts coming out of drain plug, that's enough oil. Put the filler plug. Then put the filler plug back in there, tighten it up with a 3/4 inch ratchet with the small extension. Let's get into crawling under the car. Okay, now I'm laying up under my 2000 Mercury Mountaineer. Like I said, this applies to Ford Explorers, Mercury Mountaineers, and Ford trucks who has rear wheel drive. It's easy peasy. So easy a caveman could change it. The rear differential oil and the gasket. And some people just use the RTV, which is silicone, to go back around the housing. Your pan, excuse me, I bumped the camera. Your pan mounts up right here. This is the back of the rear differential housing. See, there's your axle. There's your axle over there. And this is all-wheel drive, which means, in other words, it has a front differential up where the engine is. You got the 10 bolts. You can see the patterns. Clean this off. Let me get up in here with my finger. My car's on the ground, so I ain't got a lot of room to move around. Clean this off, this flat part, where it's flat, where your rear differential cover mounts up. Make sure to take a lot of people recommend using a razor blade or a metal scraper. Do not use a plastic one. You do not want to scar this housing, because you want to make sure it stays flat. You don't want to have a bunch of grooves in it. Use a flat plastic scraper. And I do not recommend using parts cleaner to spray in here, because that can get in with your oil and could cause your seals to leak on your axles. Do not do that. So go back with RTV silicone. After you clean this off, clean it real good. And I usually get the orange or the red. Take and put a bead on the outside of the bolt pattern with your RTV. But I might go back with my cork gasket. I did buy a Fel-Pro cork gasket. But you take the RTV silicone, go around the outside of your bolt pattern. And once you do that, you can just put the pan up here, put the top bolts in there, one up here and one in the bottom to hold it, and go around, put all the bolts in here, the 10mm, 13mm bolts. Use a torque wrench, and you torque the bolts back to 15 foot-pounds. Now you know the rest of the story. No, not Paul Harvey. And the filler plug that I removed, that I showed you, is on the front side of this housing. Here's the rear. Over here on the other side of this axle, on the front side of the differential, the plug is right up here. It's simple on the driver's side. I think mine recommends 3.1 quarts. Whatever vehicle you have, you can look at Onyo's manual, or you can look online. Most of them are a little slightly over 3 quarts, I think. So there you have it. It's easy to put back together, and to get the oil back into your filler plug, the opening on the front side of the rear differential housing, on the rear differential, you can use the plastic tube, filler tube. You hook it to your quart bottle and just squeeze the quart bottle, and the fluid will go in here. And you want it to just fill it up until it starts coming out of the filler hole. The gear oil, fill it up until it starts coming out of the filler hole, which is on this side, the front side, the driver's side. When it starts coming out, you know it's full. And then you put your plug back in there, tighten it up, snug it up pretty good, and that's all you need to do. Like I said, the boat's 15 foot-pounds. Easy peasy. Thanks for watching. Big goes out. Hope everyone's had a wonderful day. Please like, comment, subscribe as always. Be happy, positive, focus. It's nice laying on asphalt underneath the car, working on it. Leave comments, that helps my channel. Give me a thumbs up, and I will see you all in the next video. Big O's out with a shout. Oh yeah, baby.